there?
As everybody knows, we've been working with Circuit Court on kind of security stuff, safety stuff for the employees up there. As a security group, we decided to put a window at a more secure spot for our Circuit Court up there. So we need to do a little bit of remodeling to make that happen. So what we're doing is we're moving smaller, we're putting in a security window and we're moving a door, so forth. So anyway, that's what the security group, we discussed that back in January, I believe. So I went out for 3 quotes. I went with Albertson Construction and Rob Thornton Builders and also Ron Frank Construction. I got 2 bids. Ron Frank Construction denied. I reached out to him. He didn't put one in, basically. So
Didn't have time to take on another
yeah,
project.
and that's what it calls for is 3. I got to contact 3 quotes. Anyway, I went out for those. I want to recommend the award to Rob Thornton Builders. They come in $1,000 cheaper than Albertson did, $8,080 to do the project we need to do to secure it there. Put a metal detector in, a secure window, and move the door to access the circuit court so they can have their own access to get into their office.
Okay. Very, very good work on this, Dave. I was part of the first part of this, and it's just one more step in making us more efficient upstairs. I believe one thing we didn't mention is the dollars for this will be coming out of not your fund, but another fund for.
Well, some of it is ours.
Some of it is?
Some of it is, some of it's theirs. So.
Okay, but this is a partnership with the court
Well, what
security
they did,
budget?
they bought all the security windows, they bought all their detectors. $8,080 does come from us, from the
Okay,
county side.
so this side is total, they pay for the
They pay
materials?
for all the material, their windows, the doors, whatever they need to make their operational function. We're just paying to have it done.
The total project is quite a bit more than this?
Yes.
Okay.
Dave, didn't you almost split it in half, or?
As far as the dollars, no, we're paying a little bit more, but that's our responsibility. We have to provide them with the function that if they have any special needs like bulletproof windows, metal detectors, that comes out of the circuit court security fund, and they approve that. So the time they were done, it wasn't quite half, but they ended up about $5,000 what they ended up.
I guess it gets down as our facilities and whatever is redone needs to be in compliance with you as our facilities manager, how you can manage to it.
Right.
So,
With codes and all that.
so, very good.
Yeah, I just had one question on, well, one of my questions was, of course, on materials, because I wasn't seeing the materials. I wasn't sure if the price actually included a lot of those. But the other question was on Albertsons. He talks about, and I think it's in item 1, moving the existing door down the hallway and a number of other things. But on the other quote, it just says, complete the install of reception window and metal alarm, including modifications to
Interior walls.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that
Yes, that includes that.
you're getting exactly what you're looking for on both of these quotes. Okay.
Yeah, and I don't want to speak for Dave. Whenever we award this, there will be a contract that
Yes, there'll be a contract.
specifies everything.
Absolutely.
Once he comes in, once I award it, he'll come in, we'll sign the contract, and I'll bring it to you guys to sign the contract with him.
Exactly.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Yeah, no, just Albertson did a better job laying it out than Thornton.
Yeah, it was itemized. There was a lot of other stuff in the other
We
one,
get
which
that a
just
lot.
kind of mentioned the door and.
We get that a lot with, when we do bids. Some people, I've just had to come in and write it on a piece of paper and say, this is what I charge, and I'm going, whoa, we gotta add a little bit more to this.
Yeah, no, that was just my question, make sure that we were getting everything that we were asking for.
Actually, Rob's bid, he's putting Kevlar, and Albertson's bid, they're just putting solid 2x6s in the wall for protection. Well, Kevlar is a lot better than the 2x4.
Sure.
So Rob's bid was a little bit more to do it right.
Might even convince the court fund of paying for the Kevlar.
Yeah.
You'll work on that.
Yeah.
That's not for the
No,
middle of the
it's a
meeting,
good
that's
deal.
what you negotiate.
Yeah, no, that's a good
Okay,
deal.
so again, I recommend the bid to Rob Thornton Builders for $8,080.
All right. we'll act on that tomorrow.
Okay.
All right.
Glad to see that one coming to a close, so, yeah.
And this isn't the final, so you know, we're down the road, we're looking at a full design up there to help all of it up there at some point. So, now this is just,
You're saying someday you're gonna want to design professional plans so we can go to the next level, is that what you're saying?
yes,
Yeah, absolutely, because there's a lot of experts here that have no expertise.
exactly.
And we get design professional, we'll get it done right.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Melanie Buzzini, ODA grant agreement and a support letter.
Yep. I'm not prepared.
Grant agreement first.
The Lake County Wolf Depredation Committee was awarded $1,000 from the ODA, and we just need to sign the contract to receive the funds for projects for the upcoming year. And then the Lake County Wolf Depredation Compensation Committee also sent a letter this week in response to supporting the delistation of the gray wolf, and they were hoping that the commissioners could write one as well. I have something drafted for you guys if you'd like to approve that tomorrow.
Yes, so on the grant, it's just a formality of accepting and signing tomorrow,
Right.
so we'll carry that one on. As you guys know, last year, the funding that comes, we was fortunate enough to get at least 1,000. If we don't use it, it goes back. So we didn't think we'd get anything, so 1,000's at least a start. And, anyways, and then on the support letter for delisting, the committee had people with a lot of different expertise, and basically the letter is put together with Melanie and with somebody that has years and years of knowledge in that field. And so I, myself, unless you guys see some changes to the letter, it looks good to me. So if you guys want to go over it, and then tomorrow we can sign it by consensus. And give you guys time to read unless you've already read it.
I have. I thought it was well put together. Nothing really jumped out at me. I thought it was a pretty good draft, kind of what they're asking for.
So we have it on the agenda for tomorrow, so it's not that time sensitive, we'll just carry it forward. Okay. Next item, 2020 Census County Coordinator. And Melanie, Melanie's talked to each one of us individually. The census is an important part of our county for that to go through the process and do the best job on having the census done. A lot of the funding and different things are based around our population and things. Melanie done some research. So the first question would be is if anybody on the board wanted to be that coordinator, and I don't believe any of us wanted to be that coordinator. I don't want to speak for Melanie, she's done a lot of research. I'm going to have her give an overview. Next option would be to consider Melanie to possibly be that coordinator. But it takes a lot of time, and that we have to accept that too. So is that close, Melanie, to
Yeah.
where you're at?
No, I don't mind doing it. There'd be a couple of meetings throughout the next year probably. We're just going to form a committee to address people or populations that might not be met they might have trouble with PO boxes or something, or demographics. So we'll form a committee to address that.
And so that would include having some meetings in North Lake, probably Paisley and North Lake, I would
Yeah,
imagine.
I would like to have at least one in each area, and then I'd like to schedule an REC to go to like the schools or community center and kind of give a great overview of how important the census is.
And I don't believe this time, I don't know this for sure, I don't know if there's any funding for advertisement for anything like that.
No.
So, we should consider, if we're gonna take up that coordination, is to try to get people to do the census. There's gonna be some costs, we need to advertise a couple times anyways, in my opinion. Or at least Melanie, if she's a coordinator, have the opportunity, if the committee believes advertisement's important, to try to get people out. So, in your budget, someplace we would want to make sure there's enough dollars.
Yeah, there will be some cost to the county, but for every person that we get to turn in their census, that's worth about $2,500 to the county. So
That's the
it's-
formula they sort of use it
So it's a great thing, it'd be more money to the county in the end, and then also they're looking at adding a representative to Oregon. He said we're on the cusp of adding a third representative, so if we do a good job getting everyone captured, then it's great for our community and state.
So what you need out of the board is tomorrow,
Mhm.
if we're going to move the magic wand and appoint you, that's what we need to do tomorrow.
Mhm.
Was there anybody on the board here have a burning desire to be that coordinator?
Not for me.
I can work with you on that,
Would you like it?
yeah. Well, I honestly think that you did a great job in bringing him down here. If you don't wanna do it, I'd be happy to, but like we talked earlier, and I thought it'd be great if you wanted to head that up, so.
Whatever you guys,
coordinate it.
So,
yeah.
so how about this, is the talking against work session, you've done quite a bit of work, you coordinated, and he'd be the one that tries to make some of the meetings.
Yeah,
as time allows.
because I
Does
live up
fit
that
for you?
way and
I'm sort of reading between the lines, I think that's what I'm hearing now.
If you need someone else up on the north
Yeah,
end,
that'd
I'd be
be great.
happy to.
Okay,
Like, you can save the county a little bit of money just because I live up that way, and if there's meetings to attend, I can make that happen.
okay,
Yeah, the more connections we have.
Absolutely.
And try to get people to come out. Okay. Will that work that way, Melanie? If we appointed you tomorrow as a coordinator, and
Mhm.
I guess all three commissioners pretty much could be liaison to all three of us. We just pick, we're gonna make one of the
That would
meetings.
probably be best, yeah.
Yep, okay. Let's go that route tomorrow, hopefully. With that, let's move on back to the addition, the minutes of 4/11. If there's a need to go ahead and act on those today for some of our agency folks to be able to use that local emergency declaration to make sure that the resources and everything were used appropriately. So it would entertain a motion to accept those minutes.
I'll second that motion.
Gonna make the motion.
Oh, are you entertaining a motion? I thought you made a motion.
I was
Oh, I'm
entertaining
sorry,
a motion.
I misunderstood, I thought you made the motion.
That's okay. Nobody else listens to me.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
That's fine, no problem.
I'll make the motion to accept those minutes.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded to accept the April 11 minutes as presented. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. With that, I believe we're through our non-timed items. Is there any liaison updates at this time anybody wants to report on? I can do just a little bit real fast. Had our gun show this weekend for the fair board. Fair board person, it was a good weekend, had quite a few people there. The numbers that came through the door, I talked with our manager yesterday, we're pretty close to the same number of people that we normally get, so that's a good sign. We're talking different ideas as the fair board is trying to enhance that, get more people to come through. Got some pretty good ideas, so doing that. Later on today, have a fair board meeting. We have our, I can't remember their name, of the people at the design specialist or the architectural firm or engineer firm. They're going to be at our meeting tonight to talk with the fair board about a design potential design phase one of the fairgrounds. So we're working on that. Ronnie's meeting with others throughout this afternoon and tomorrow morning on that. So that's a really good thing. It's similar to what I said earlier, is just everybody's an expert on how it's supposed to be designed, but there's people that really are experts. And so we finally, with the help of SCOED, Betty, and everything, we got the grant where we're able to have a design professional come in. And so excited about that. Hopefully, after we get through this phase, it opens up the opportunity to try to find some grants and then try to do it in phases of how we can start improving things out there. So that's a very positive thing. Other liaison updates, I will be in Klamath on Thursday, Regional Solutions. We'll be going over some priorities and different things. I will always work at keeping the railroad, the natural gas, airports also, and on the town side, the water issues and everything. We try to keep things on the list of priority, and I'm not thinking off the top of my head, I have some written down, but we do that, put that as a priority, and then as funding comes available, that helps if they're on that list. So I'll be over there on Thursday on that. Next week, I will be off from Wednesday through the rest of that week on vacation. I think, I don't want to lead you in, but you're working on the sustained yield unit and those things. Mark, do you have anything to report at this time? I know you got more meetings, but...
Yeah, on that, they haven't really scheduled a meeting for everyone, but, so I'm just kind of trying to coordinate everybody together and get the information on the sustained yield, what everybody's thinking. Right now, it looks like everybody's kind of going down the same trail, but on another note, we put the reassurance markers on the No-Me Trail this weekend, and it actually ties into the Oregon Timber Trail, which comes from virtually Crane Mountain and goes clear out throughout the state, Travel Oregon and the Chamber, and a bunch of them have really been pushing the deal. So we're getting pretty good response back on that. One of the things I did want to ask the board is the previous board, they have some county signs that are going to go up on board, and the previous board said that they would put those in for them. And so I just want to, we need to do that by June 2nd. And so,
I think, I believe what you're referring to is we offered some dollars up, and that was through the video lottery fund. And so, we need to put them up, or you need to leverage money for the signs?
according to the group, the county said that on those signs on the Bullard Road, which is a county road, they would put those signs up, and I can't remember right offhand, there's like 2 or 3. And so, but if the county doesn't want to do it, I'll do it. But
Well, that's where I'm going. I can't remember. I know that we agreed to fund them, and maybe they were part of the road department, but the agreement was we'd at least pay for them, and Melanie is the manager of that fund, video lottery fund, and sounds like you're going to get them put up.
okay. Anyway, so I just wanted to make the board aware that when that time, that's going to happen within the next few weeks. And we'll get that done, but I'll be coming before you, and whether I have to put them up or not doesn't matter.
Well, if they're ones that are in the road right away, it'd be appropriate for the road department to put those up.
Which there are. One will be at the road that goes down to the gun range, and it's right in the county right away. And then I think there's one other one that I don't think it's worth that.
And I think, and I'm trying to remember, I think that's exactly what we mentioned, is we'll pay for them, but we want them put up to the county road standards so that the road department put them up, but we pay for them, I think is where it's at. So work with the road department, but I would like to say for all the work you and the others, the chamber on that trail and dedicated to Noni, great work. That's great work. I know you spent last weekend doing a lot of hiking through drifts and things, Mark. That's very, very honorable that you took that on along
You
with
guys were up there all
the rest of
Saturday.
the committee.
Yeah.
And it was a kick, and it's been such a great community effort. And then tying it in with the Oregon Timber Trail, not only were we doing a memorial, but we're also tying in with the tourism and stuff, because the mountain biking and hiking is really blowing up in Oregon. And I think it'll benefit the whole county, and so it's been a really good thing.
It's a very good thing.
And I just want you guys not only to recognize we call ourselves the Oregon Outback Timber Trail Committee, and but there's also a Western Heritage Committee and a Geological Committee that have been doing the same amount of work on their field. And so like the Western Heritage is really pushing like for a fair and a roundup and, our heritage. And then the Geological Committee is making the state aware of all of our geological features in Oregon and in Lake County, from the sunstones and opal mines and the petroglyphs and everything, and so I just wanted to recognize that too, so.
Very good. Any other liaison updates?
I think you and I are gonna be at County College this next weekend, so we'll
ML.
be leaving, yeah, ML, yeah. We'll be leaving, I don't know when you guys are taking off, I'll probably be taking off Thursday night.
That's when I think I'm going to,
Yeah.
so. And then we'll be gone Friday, Saturday.
So this put you guys past the halfway mark.
This is the
right?
halfway
Mark.
This is the halfway, yeah.
Yeah.
Very proud of all of you guys for taking on that. You guys haven't missed a thing yet, so that's commendable. It's quite a commitment.
Also legislative committee, I may end up being at the Capitol for a few extra days next week. I may not come back till Tuesday.
That's what we do.
There's
Very
a bunch
good.
of meetings up there, and I figured I'd try and overlap with those meetings, so I can save time and not have to make another trip back up. So,
Good idea.
Very good.
Yeah.
On those, email us any updates that you get or anything at that time, if you have time, I know. but-
on the bills, you mean?
Yeah, if there's something that you say, hey, Brad, this one's hot right now, just sort of keeps it, there's a lot of them hot right now.
There's a couple of them, but so far, actually, our last legislative meeting, I'll just update you guys on this real quick. Our last meeting actually went pretty smooth. There weren't a whole lot of contentious bills. I think there was one regarding planning, but ended up getting voted down by one vote. And it wasn't passed, but it was going to restructure a lot of the planning laws at a state level by establishing a committee comprised of stakeholders in renewable energy that were going to decide what state policy was going to be. They weren't elected officials, and that was going to impact what planning laws are going to be at a local level. And of course, there was a lot of opposition to it, and it ended up getting voted down, or at least going back to be rewritten with amendments because of the enormous conflict that it would have on a local level from the state. And so that got voted down. If that had gone forward, you probably would have heard an update from me a lot sooner, but because it was voted down, it was just sort of, there was a lot of bills before us that day. There's two bills right now that are really contentious. I think it's 3063, which is a mandatory vaccine bill, and then there's a gun bill, which is 987, I think, and that's in the Ways and Means still. Both of those are, and they're kind of out of our hands in the legislative committee. So we're not looking at those. Our legislators are on the committees for those. it's hard to say where those are going to go. They both have bipartisan support, but they're both interesting bills in the sense that they also have bipartisan opposition, which makes for a very interesting conversation in committee.
But at least it isn't a straight party line then.
It isn't straight party line. In fact, there was, in the meeting yesterday, or not yesterday, I think it was several days ago. I think it was on Friday. One of our legislators, representative, she's a new representative. She leans very far to the left on issues, but her husband is a very non-political guy, doesn't get involved in politics at all. But he's also very, quite far to the left in most of his policies. And he went on the record actually saying that if anyone voted yes to, I think it was the gun bill, he was going to personally do everything within his power to make sure that those people didn't serve again in office, including his own wife. And so it's got really, and of course that impacts on how she's going to vote. It just creates interesting conversation at the legislative level because you see that dynamic and how these things really affect people's lives. And it's not really a left versus right argument so much as it's an argument about whether or not we're impacting people's rights on a local level, whether or not we should. And so it creates very interesting conversations.
Very interesting. All right. So I'd like to get a 5-minute break before our time, 10 o'clock. I don't want to cut anybody off.
No, I'm good.
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break and come back at 10 o'clock. And our first item will be
10 o'clock by that clock or?
by our cell phones, because we all live by.
Yeah, 5 minute by the satellite.
Otherwise you're gonna be back.